In 1998, Bruce and Andrea Linegar welcomed their son James into the world. They were an ordinary family living in Louisiana, never suspecting that their young child would soon become the center of one of the most compelling and mysterious cases of reincarnation in modern history. When James turned 2 years old, things took a strange turn. What began as harmless toddler behaviors soon evolved into something much more disturbing. James became obsessed with airplanes, especially World War II era fighter planes. His fascination wasn't entirely unusual for a boy, but the intensity and precision of his knowledge soon baffled everyone around him. Then came the nightmares. At just 2 years old, James began waking up in the middle of the night, screaming in terror. His small body would thrash violently, and he would cry out, "Airplane crash, on fire, little man can't get out." His parents, concerned by the intensity and frequency of the nightmares, initially thought they were just typical childhood night terrors. However, the recurring nature and the details James provided made it clear that something deeper was going on. Bruce and Andrea began asking their son about his dreams. To their astonishment, James described being in a plane that was hit and spiraled down into the ocean. He claimed he was flying a specific type of airplane called a Purser, and mentioned he flew from the ship the Natoma. When they asked who had been flying the plane, he would just simply say, "James." Confused and disturbed by their son's vivid memories, the Linegars tried to rationalize what was happening. They had no reason to believe in reincarnation and were skeptical of anything paranormal. Yet, as James continued to provide more detailed information, their skepticism began to wane. James's fascination with airplanes only deepened as he grew older. He began drawing intricate pictures of World War II fighter planes, complete with meticulous details like the exhaust pipes and the Japanese insignia on enemy planes. When he was 3, his parents took him to a World War II museum in Dallas, Texas. As they walked around, James seemed to recognize the aircraft, identifying different models and parts as if he were intimately familiar with them. During another conversation, James mentioned the name Jack Larson, someone who had flown with him during the war. He also revealed that he had been shot down by the Japanese near the island of Iwo Jima. Bruce Linegar, determined to find a logical explanation, began researching the information his son provided. What he found shook him to his core. He discovered that the USS Natoma Bay had indeed been a small aircraft carrier stationed in the Pacific during World War II. Bruce then uncovered the tragic story of a young fighter pilot named James M. Houston Jr., who had flown from the Natoma Bay and was shot down in the Battle of Iwo Jima. Even more astonishingly, Jack Larson was a real person. He had flown with Houston and was still alive at the time. Everything James had described matched perfectly with the historical record. James Houston Jr., are you enjoying today's story? Smash that subscribe button so you never miss another spine-chilling tale. Let's get back to the video. Had been a fighter pilot in World War II. On March 3rd, 1945, during a mission over Iwo Jima, his FM-2 Wildcat fighter plane was struck by enemy fire and went down in a fiery crash. He was killed instantly, becoming one of the many casualties of the brutal conflict in the Pacific. He was 21 years old at the time. The details that little James Linegar provided, without any prior exposure to the information, were uncanny. Not only had he named the ship correctly and identified Jack Larson as a fellow pilot, but he had also given precise descriptions of how Houston's plane had been hit and crashed into the sea. It was as though James had lived through the experience himself. The Linagars, once skeptical, could no longer deny the possibility that their son was experiencing memories from another life. As the story gained attention, the Linagars connected with the surviving members of the USS Natoma Bay crew, many of whom were amazed by James's knowledge. James's descriptions of specific incidences from the war, as well as his recognition of the people involved, convincing even the most hardened skeptics that something beyond ordinary was happening. In one poignant moment, James's parents arranged for him to meet with Anne Barron, the sister of James Houston Jr. During their meeting, young James shared intimate memories that only a close family member would have known. Anne was deeply moved, believing that her brother had somehow returned in the form of this young boy. Even more chilling was when James Linegar, at the age of 4, began speaking about how he chose his parents. He told his mother that he saw her in Hawaii, implying that he had selected her to be his mother in this new life. Andrea Linegar was stunned, as she had once vacationed in Hawaii before James was born. As James grew older, the nightmares eventually subsided. By the age of 6 or 7, his memories of being a World War II pilot began to fade. The vivid recollections of his past life became less frequent, and he gradually returned to the normal experiences of childhood. However, the story of James Linegar and his connection to James Houston Jr. continues to captivate those who hear it. The Linagars documented their extraordinary journey in the book Soul Survivor, the reincarnation of a World War II fighter pilot, recounting the strange, emotional, and ultimately transformative experiences they faced as a family. Bruce, once a staunch skeptic, now believes in the possibility of reincarnation, while Andrea found the comfort in the idea that life continues beyond death. The case of James Linegar remains one of the most convincing and well-documented stories of reincarnation. His knowledge of World War II aircraft, the names and locations he provided, and the historical accuracy of his memories make it difficult for skeptics to explain away. While some attribute his experiences to coincidence, cryptomnesia, or even parental influence, the depths of James' recollections suggest that something far more extraordinary was at play. James's story not only challenges conventional beliefs about life and death, but also offers a glimmer of hope that the soul may endure, and that our experiences, even in the most tragic of circumstances, may not be lost forever. I can't say for certain whether the story will ultimately prove to be true, or if it one day will be revealed as a hoax. Regardless, I've found great enjoyment in it since I first heard of it. I have a belief, or at least a hope, that life can continue after death. This narrative offers a glimmer of hope, suggesting that when one life ends, another may begin. Thanks for watching.